Everybody is distracted these days. I don't mean like this grand scheme. Oh, everybody's distracted from something. I mean, in every little moment, we have a distraction, or at least some, that is so readily available. Right, as soon as quiet time or boredom sets in, or when you're driving, hello, or at the dinner table, we have something we can look at to never allow our brains to just stop. When I was in high school and back in my day, and I started working out with the football team, it was, thank goodness, they were pretty intense and old school because good luck playing any music or your favorite music while you're working out with the team. You have the coaches yelling at you, and sometimes the basketball coach would be in there and he would be playing Dave Matthews Band. Nobody liked Dave Matthews Band, at least not on my team. And that was the only time that radio was used, which was like, thank goodness, because it really helped us focus, made the workouts more intense. Later in college, I got into metal. And what better genre of music to listen to than, than heavy metal? The problem, though, is that you start to wonder, like, am I too reliant on this when I need to max out, better turn on my music or this song. And, even if you're being valiant and like, I'm going to listen to educational podcasts, that's one thing if you're going on like a walk or doing cardio. But like, if you're training with any intensity, which are you focusing on, the thing, or are you focusing on the workout? It's hard to know. Everybody knows Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay. And I think the first time people were able to see him work out was Pumping Iron. That was set in the 70s, and that was actually after he had won quite a few awards over in Europe, and now he was in California. And I guess they had a radio in the corner somewhere, but again, it was like, I feel like the group radio that plays in the gym, whether it was like a little radio in the corner or even today, is different than what you could bring. Like, you're gonna like, I need my playlist, I need this podcast, I need this. Everybody has their own, right? This is why it's kind of a meme when you have to listen to the gym music. It's torture. So I pretty sure he had a lot of moments where he was, we saw Pumping Iron, but before that, it's like he's working out, and by a lake somewhere with some buddies doing body weight, working out by himself when it was like cold, working out in the military. You think he had music there, or Spotify, or any song readily available? I mean, think about it. It's like cassette tape, and then CDs, iPods, and now Spotify. You can get anything you want immediately. And if you are into weightlifting, there's this documentary, I think it's on YouTube, called, I think, School of Champions, about the 80s Bulgarian team. You think they had a radio in there? Like, you can actually find training clips, because that documentary has background music, but training clips of just training. I think it was in the 90s at that point, but it was like silent. Like, good luck. Like, hey, I want to listen to this. Like, yeah, right. You're on the national lifting team. You don't have your Beats. You don't have your AirPods. And it was just painfully peaceful. And I think in the modern day, no, in the past, I feel like you had more downtime. You sat on the porch and you thought about life. You wrote letters to your family. You would read a book. You would maybe listen to the radio, or maybe watch TV, as long as they didn't shut it down for the night. And I think that's a lost art these days. So what are you talking about? Like, we're going to apply this to the gym, because I discovered this training methodology called Original Strength. One of the authors was Tim Anderson, and later on he came out with a book called The Becoming Bulletproof Project. One of the things he has done is Spider-Man crawled, which is only on your hands and feet, right? No knees, nonstop for a mile. And there's a video of it, and he actually forgot to turn he had a podcast or something he was going to listen to. He forgot to turn it on, so it was all quiet. But he trained with John Brookfield, who was actually the creator of the battling ropes. But in Tim's book, he says, when you do this hard stuff like crawling, or it's a bunch of miserable things, you're not supposed to, ideally not supposed to listen to anything, right? No music, no educational stuff. And when I got a hold of that book, I didn't realize how long it had been since I had nothing myself. Like, I train by myself in the mornings, and my brain is just like, I need something. So I was listening to like metal again, and then I would start listening to even like educational stuff like on YouTube, but you shut all that off, and you start doing something hard, and your body's like, man, this is tough. I want to stop. I want to listen to something, so I'm not thinking about what I'm doing. But it forces you to confront that. And what was happening is that when I got done, my mind for the rest of the day was so peaceful, because you have no input, you're forced to struggle, and then it's, I guess, creating this stress, and later your body's like, oh, that wasn't too bad. And then the rest of your day is more peaceful. I put that in quotes, but it's just, stuff will still happen, but it doesn't get to you as much. Okay. I can't guarantee a peaceful day for you, but I can give you some pain in the morning and then the rest of the day, all right, maybe not so bad. I can handle it. So, as applies to the gym, and I need to get back into this or be more consistent with this myself, but I get it. Like, I like to strength train, and the downtime is just so boring, right? You have to rest like 3 to 5 minutes. Well, what do? You just sit, and you have to be with your thoughts. And when you take on the set, you have no music. You have to focus. You can't rely on, I need this song or I need something. It's just you, right? And I don't, I think some competition, I don't know if powerlifting, they have music, CrossFit, always music, but weightlifting, there's probably not going to be anything, right? It's just going to be you and the bar. And I think if you train like that more often, you'll be ready for it. Even if you don't, again, the mental benefits of just having nothing. I talk to busy people. So if you're training in the morning, your rest of your day becomes a little bit more peaceful if you can do this. All right. So how do you do this? You have to systematically, you can do this one at a time, or take a look at each one. For example, I have like social media. Don't just scroll on your phone. Okay. I think one of the biggest for people is probably Facebook, but with Instagram, like, stop. But a one starter point for that is to follow fewer people, because on Instagram you may see something recommended, you're like, oh, that's kind of interesting, and then you go through their little like day thing, and you feel like you need to, oh, I need to catch up with everybody. You don't know these people. Like, I used to follow The Rock and Matt Frazier, and I actually need to go through again and get rid of it, because I'll follow somebody and then I just don't actually watch it. But I would follow The Rock, and I was like groggy getting up, started my workout at like 6, and it was like he was already done, and I was like, wow, that kind of makes me not feel as good about my stuff. But follow fewer people. Honestly, just don't use social media until your workout's done. If you're working out in the morning, it should be like, oh, getting up, getting ready to work out, instead of like, oh, first thing I do, I'm gonna let the randomness invade my brain. The next thing is music with lyrics, because your brain is trying to pay attention to something, right? Again, unless you're doing a walk. If you're doing any sort of training, you're splitting your attention between the lyrics and the workout. Okay, so you need to take that out. Any music at all, like I like movie and show music, but again, it's like, are you just using that as a crutch to increase your workout, right? Like, you need to just confront the workout head on. And then the last thing is, like, what I was doing was the whole like educational podcast thing. Save that for your walks, and if it's in training with intensity, don't do it then, okay? Because you're only focusing on one or the other. So that's it. And these days, like, focus is a hot topic. And one of the things we think we need to do for focus, which does help, is meditate, which means you sit and you try not to let thoughts come in, and you can do that for like 10 to 30 minutes. But what's the other thing when you're not, if you have no input and you're not focusing on meditation, what happens? Your mind wanders, right? And my thing is like, is that a bad thing? I don't think so. Because like, what do we do with our phones? We have that as a replacement for downtime, or when things get uncomfortable. We have all these things in our subconscious mind that will come to the surface, or would if you just let that space be there. But it's not a bad thing. Like if you sit around and you're like, man, I really didn't like what so and so happened today, and I learned this recently, just to process your thoughts, just sit with it or write it down on your phone and be like, yeah, that bothered me. And you're not trying to squash it. You don't even have to try to fix it. Just let it be there. Or finally, you're like, oh yeah, I need to remember to do this, and then you write it down. Or oh, I forgot to do that. And then, oh, I was trying to remember that. Like that's all underneath, but we need to get back to letting our brains have the space to let that happen. This is why when you lie down in bed, you are like, oh, I remember this, I remember this. Because finally your brain gets to work. Or it's why when you wake up, you have a lot of ideas because it's just had this no input time frame. So use that in life, use that for your workouts, because I guarantee you will have a much more focused and intense workout if you are able to put that together. So that's my challenge to you. That's my challenge for myself. If you want to remember to do that in your little workout journal, right? No audio. Okay. Get your workout done and get out of there. So thanks for watching. Subscribe. Questionnaire if you want to leave comments or work one-on-one with me, I guess. I'll have a questionnaire down there. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.